guys, it's Candy. Welcome back to Our Family Nest. So it is Sunday, my favorite day of the week. It is actually Sunday and you're watching this video on Sunday. Maybe, you might be watching another day of the week. But it is Sunday book day here at Our Family Nest. So I just finished reading a book this morning and I'm like, you know what? It's October 16th. About halfway through the month. It's about time I share with you guys the books that I've read so far this month, because otherwise my old lady brain is going to forget the books that I read. So I feel like I've sort of been in a little bit of a reading slump. Reading the Twilight books, it was hard. As much as I enjoyed reading them, and they're still all 5-star books. If you don't know, I did read-along vlog type videos for each of the Twilight books, reading them 15 years later, and I really enjoyed it, but it just wasn't like, oh, I gotta know what happens. So I wasn't like flying through the books as fast as I usually read. Other than that, so far this month I've only read 2 books. There'll be more books in this video. Obviously I'm gonna read other books this month. But the 2 books that I read, one is The Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll, and I gave this book 3 stars. I liked it, I enjoyed it. It's a little tough because the book is pretty deep and touches on some very intense topics. This is also I think it's on Netflix. It was turned into a movie by Reese Witherspoon's team, and it has Mila Kunis as the main character, Annie, and she did a really, really good job. I actually probably enjoyed the movie a little bit more than the book. The book, let me tell you, does an amazing job of making you really dislike the main character, Annie. She is just this pretentious little spoiled brat through the majority of it. When you go back through the chapters from her younger years, when she was in high school, I think it starts out she's like about 14 years old. Those chapters, she's more likable, but as an adult, she is just a little bit. The trigger warnings on this: rape, shootings, eating disorders, depression, bullying, sexual assault. It's very heavy material. And in fact, if you haven't watched the movie yet and those things are triggering to you, I definitely suggest you do not watch the movie either. So this book is about Annie Finelli. When she's a teenager, she actually goes by the name Tiffany, but she changes her name because she's basically just trying to be anybody but who she was when she was in high school. She went to this really prestigious school, the Bradley School. She went through some really difficult things, but majority of the time she's holding these things in as a secret. You really don't understand what her problem is until you understand. And then you're like, oh, she has every right to be the person that she was all along, like who she is as an adult, because she's been through hell and back. She's worked really hard her whole life to prove to everyone that she is worthy. And unfortunately for her, the school shooting that happened at her school, these people are making a documentary about it. And there's some other characters involved that you'll end up hating them too. And they're basically begging Annie, please share your story, share your side. She's the one person who always just chose to look the other way, and she never really shared or reported her side of the story. She's just remained silent because she just wanted to get on with her life. Like I said, you kind of go through the majority of the book sort of hating Annie, and I feel like if you can just push through that, the story gets really good and it all kind of comes full circle and makes complete sense of why she is who she is. Next up is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And why, oh why did I take so long to read this book? 5 stars, hands down, all the way. Absolutely loved it. This book is about a girl, Lily. This book is about a character, Lily, who through her childhood, her teenage years, during high school, really went through some really tough stuff. This kind of goes back and forth between a time frame when she is in high school and she actually meets this homeless guy. His name is Atlas. He's a senior in high school and I believe she's a sophomore. They become pretty close. She ends up helping him because like I said, he's homeless, giving him food, clothes, and things like that. And then the other chapters are when Lily is an adult. After she graduates college, she's living in Boston, working for a marketing firm, I believe, and then she ends up quitting her job, starting a new business, all while meeting this guy named Ryle, who she's just absolutely goo-goo eyes in love with. Ryle, on the other hand, doesn't really want a relationship. He's a neurosurgeon. He doesn't have the time or interest to have anything other than a physical relationship with Lily. So it kind of goes back and forth of her telling the story about her first love, Atlas, and her current love interest, Ryle. And it is so good. 5 stars. This is my new favorite Colleen Hoover book. It is 2 days before It Starts With Us comes out, so I can't wait for that. And I actually just filmed a video where I talk about this book in very fine detail. Not so much the plot of the book, but just my thoughts after reading the book, because I just had to get them off my chest. And I know this is a super popular book. If you ask people, like, have you read any Colleen Hoover books? Which ones have you read? A lot of people have read this book. A lot of people are anxiously awaiting the release of It Starts With Us on Tuesday. So I thought I just want to share my thoughts in a video. I don't even care if anybody watches it. If you want to, you can go watch it. It's on my channel. I feel like my thoughts are sort of like in the minority based off of the reviews that I read on Goodreads, who everybody wanted Lily to be with. My thoughts are a little bit different. Let's just leave it at that. All right, guys, so next book is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, book 2 to It Ends With Us, that I've already reviewed earlier in this video. So this book, I did a whole video on this book, just like I did with It Ends With Us, because I just really felt like I needed to rant and rave about the book and share all of my thoughts. And at the end of the day, I gave this book 4 stars. However, I will say, when I first finished reading the book, I gave it 3 stars because I just felt really disappointed when I first read the book. And then I gave it some more time. I watched some other videos reviewing the book, and a lot of people didn't like this as much as they thought they were going to. So it wasn't that I got convinced that I liked it more by those people. It was more so just the fact that I better understood why the book was written. I mean, Colleen Hoover even explains in the book that she wrote this for the fans, because when she wrote It Ends With Us, so many people felt that Lily needed her happy ending and they just wanted to see what would come next for Lily. And there was confusion too, because a lot of people thought, okay, this is It Ends With Us, this is It Starts With Us. A lot of people thought this was a prequel, and it's not. This book starts out exactly where It Ends With Us ends, so there's no time lost. And I guess I just was most disappointed about the first half of the book, just kind of slow, and the parts that start getting very good and interesting don't happen until about halfway through. So It Starts With Us is a little bit different in the sense that it is written back and forth between Atlas's point of view and Lily's point of view. It's nice to have Atlas's point of view and kind of get a little bit more backstory on Atlas, get to know him a little bit better, understand better how Atlas feels about Lily. So it's quite different than this book. If you read this book and you love it and you expect to read a second book that is a continuation of this, it's very different. This is written with a lot of drama, some unexpected things happen. You know, a lot of trigger warnings in this book, infertility, physical abuse, violence. This book is not so heavy. It's actually lighthearted, very sweet. I describe it as almost like it's written like poetry. It's just a beautifully written, happy story. When you're done reading this book, you're not going to feel the same as you did when you read this book. That's, I think, how I could best explain it. Like I said, I ended up changing my rating to 4 stars after giving it some more thought, because I do feel like Colleen Hoover gave all the fans of this book that were Team Atlas and Lily, wanted to hear more of their story and where their futures are headed, whether together or separately. that's what was delivered. That's what was delivered in this book. So to wrap up the books that I've read in October, I have a few more books here. One of them's on my Kindle. So I read Scandalized by Ivy Owens. I'm looking on my Goodreads. Looks like I read it October 5th, finished it October 9th, which sometimes the dates are a little off. It's just the fact that I forget to put it in my Goodreads account. I actually had to look at my Goodreads to like, wait, what is this book about? This is why I make these videos the way that I do, because I know that I love this book. 5 stars, hands down, all the way. Like out of all the books I read this month, I love Scandalized the most. If you know the authors, Christina Lauren, it's 2 authors that write books together. They have dozens of books, and the majority of them that I have read are like 4 or 5 star. I've yet to read one that I like totally did not like. Well, Ivy Owens is actually like the pen name for Lauren of the Christina Lauren girls. So I thought that was super cool. And this book is raunchy, spicy, open door. If you like those kind of books, this book will not disappoint. It was so good. So it is about Georgia, also known as Gigi, and basically she's, I want to say it was London, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. She was overseas because she's this investigative journalist, and she was gathering information to put this huge news story out that is gonna like make or break her career. So she's at the airport bar, or maybe the hotel bar. Basically, she's at a bar and she looks over and she sees this guy and she's like, what do I know him from? He looks so familiar. Then she's like, holy crap, that's Alec, my best friend when she was growing up. She's not really too much in touch with her a whole lot anymore, but when she was a teenager, it was her best friend's older brother. And she always had a crush on him, but you know, he was older, untouchable, whatever. And she was like, oh my God, that's Alec. So she goes over. She's like, so great to see you. How have you been? They catch up, share stories. He tells her how his sister's doing. And there's immediately all this chemistry between the 2 of them. They end up having a one-night stand, okay? The next day, they go their separate ways. And Gigi finds out that this guy is a freaking movie star, like top celebrity. He's like an actor in the series, like multiple shows, I think, that everybody is just so head over heels for. And she's just like, oh my God, I just like slept with this guy. He's my friend's brother. I had no idea that he was like, that's who he was. She's like, no wonder why he looked familiar. So the story is all about where do they go from here. He still wants to see her again. She's trying to work on the story. He's got to keep like everything on the down low. Like if they see each other, it's got to be secretive through back doors. And I don't know, it kind of just gives you this like inside look of like probably what famous people have to go through when they're dating or hooking up or whatever may be going on. I just found it so interesting. I could not stop reading it. The next book I attempted to read because I'm like, you know, Halloween, gotta read some scary, spooky books. I had got this book and the second book in the Gravekeeper series by Darcy Coates, and they're pretty creepy. If you read the back, they're more of like scary, not mystery, or I mean it's mystery and thriller, but more just like really creepy. I did not finish this, and I haven't decided yet if I want to attempt to read this again or not. I guess I'm just not overly loving the writing. It started out, this girl was basically being chased by these men in the woods, and she has no memory. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know why these men are chasing her. She's totally confused, and she ends up running up to this like cabin in the woods where it ends up this man is in there who like hides her, helps her, gives her food, gives her a place to sleep for the night until she can wake up the next morning. And I guess, wander out in the world and figure out why she lost her memory, why these people were chasing her, who she is, whatever. And this guy is gonna like help her too, that she ran into. And late at night, it was something to do with the cemetery, like she could hear voices or like people talking or people moving in the shadows. And I was just like, I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. So like I said, I haven't decided yet. On my Instagram this week, I'm actually going to go through my bookshelves and get rid of some books. Probably some books that are brand new that I never read that I've just decided I know I'm not going to read, and possibly some books that maybe I read that I just know I don't want to hang on to this. Like, I'm going to hang on to all my favorites, my Colleen Hoovers, my Emily Henrys, like Every Summer After, one of my favorite books this year. Definitely going to still keep the majority of my books. I just want to go through. My bookshelves are pretty full. I've started reserving books at the library recently, and I don't know, I guess just my attitude about hoarding all these books on my shelves is just changing a little bit. I have so many books that I haven't read. And then the book that I just finished most recently is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. She is the author that wrote The Cheat Sheet, which was a super cute book. I loved it. When in Rome is written the very same way. It's basically about the celebrity Ray Rose, and she wants to just get away from her real life, so she decides to look up Rome, which was inspired by Audrey Hepburn, her favorite movie, Roman Holiday. Well, she couldn't exactly go to the Rome, so she went to, I think it was Rome, Kentucky. Yeah, Rome, Kentucky. This little town, there's literally no cellular service. Her car breaks down. Of course, she meets the handsome Noah Walker, and he takes her in, he gives her a place to stay, he helps her fix her car, and romance ensues. It's very predictable, kind of more like a cheesy romance, but super cute, lighthearted, fun. There's supporting characters in here as well, like Noah's sisters. They are a hoot. There's Mabel, I think is her name. She's like the owner of the inn. It's like a very small town where like everybody knows each other and everybody's in each other's business. So there's a lot of cute little side characters. Noah owns a little pie store. You find out the story behind that. Ray, her real name is Amelia actually, doesn't have the best relationship with her mother. And there's some little bit of drama there, some behind the scenes drama of stuff that probably celebrities deal with in real life, because I think it's her publicist or whatever is just way too into her business and super controlling over what she wears, what she eats, how she colors her hair, just everything. And I gave this book 4 stars. So I feel like Sarah Adams is one of those authors, like Emily Henry, like Carly Fortune, like Christina Lauren, Abby Jimenez, Ellen Hildebrand, even though I haven't read very many of her books yet. I have way more to read. Just one of those authors that I feel like I would pick up anything that they write at any given time, because they're just really good, fun, entertaining books to read. So that is going to wrap up my video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I try so hard to not make these videos too long. It's so challenging. It's like my biggest challenge of the week. Don't make your book video too long. Happens every time. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.